In the last video, we talked about trust and how hard it can be to trust a church again if you've ever felt let down by one. But I want to encourage you that it is possible to have a satisfying, meaningful relationship with a church again. It's possible to find a meaningful faith community where you can belong and grow. And in fact, many thousands of former Latter-day Saints have done so. And it will help you have a right perspective about this. And so I'm going to just share with you like 4 things to keep your head on straight about the idea of finding a new church. First of all, it's good to remember that no church is really asking you to trust it the way that the LDS Church asks you to do so. That's because we don't look at a church as the ultimate mediator between you and God. That position belongs only to Jesus. We look at a church as simply a way to more effectively follow Christ, where you're going to have an opportunity to get encouragement and learn and grow and serve together with other like-minded people. And in fact, many of the best elements of LDS life are also present in other churches. You know, you're going to find yourself connected to loving people. You're going to find ways to serve and find a positive environment to raise children and teens, opportunities to develop your talents and abilities. And you're going to find together you can make a difference in your community. Now, secondly, I want you to also understand that, you know, every congregation has strengths and it has weaknesses. There's tremendous amount of diversity even among churches that have the same basic beliefs. You're going to find differences of style and history and tradition. Some are more formal, some less so. Different kinds of music, different approaches to teaching, different kinds of buildings, different ways of organizing ministries. And as I said, some will be stronger in some areas and less so in other areas. And you may have to visit several churches until you find one that feels more like home or to fit where you're at in your journey right now. Now, the third thing to keep in mind is that some churches are more healthy than others. I'm talking about spiritual and relational vitality. And as you look for a church, I have to be honest that there are some churches that you should avoid like the plague. Avoid churches that are legalistic. And what I mean by that is they put emphasis on man-made rules and standards. Avoid churches that don't uphold the historic biblical Christian faith. Let me give you a few things that you should look for in a church. Find one that's centered on Jesus, that makes much of Jesus. Find one where the Bible is consistently taught and applied, where they major on the major things and don't make minor issues a test of loyalty and fellowship. You know, find one where leadership is shared, that it's not a one-man show, and where people are not just spectators, but they're involved in the work of the church. Find one where people seem to truly care about each other and where there's a joy evident in people's lives. And find one that's outwardly focused. They're not just taking care of themselves, but they genuinely care about outsiders and people far from God, and they're making a positive impact in the community around them. Those are all healthy signs of vitality in a church. And then finally, you need to know that there's going to be some things that you don't understand, some things that don't make sense or that seem out of place for you. A lot of things about church are going to be different from what you're used to. The music will be different. Maybe they'll take an offering or display the cross, but you might notice 100 differences. They don't always do things the way the ward did them. I want you to realize that this isn't usually about issues of ultimate truth. More often, these are just gray areas, and sometimes it's simply that you're encountering a different culture, and there's really nothing more to it than that. So take it slow, take your time. Don't rush into a decision about church. The odds are that you will, in time, find a good fit if you're patient and you keep looking. But as you journey forward in your pursuit of God, we want to encourage you, don't give up on the idea of church. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Church is God's idea. He didn't create us to go it alone. And even though churches are imperfect, a healthy local church still provides a positive, wonderful environment for you to develop your faith. So as you think about that, here's some questions that I encourage you to take a look at by yourself or with a friend, and some passages from the Bible that explain a little bit more about this topic in our video today. So God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for checking in and viewing with us today.